Welcome to Steel Curtains Productions. Please hit the likes and subscribe down below in your right hand corner. Muchly would appreciate that. Thank you very much to my followers. Yes, I know it's been a little bit because I kind of quiet down in the off season, but I'm also unfortunately presently going through moves. And I like to kind of, when it's off season, just have a few things transpire before getting out there. So we're going to update on what has been going on with the Steelers. We had a lot of action on the 13th of March. So, anyway, please hit the likes, subscribe, share it tell your friends and family, share it, the video. And if you come across the channel, please subscribe. Don't leave without subscribing and hit the likes, as we've built a reputable community here on this channel, Steel Curtain. So leave your comments after each video and your thoughts, but keep it respectable. So yeah, we're going to update you on the off season a bit, and it was a busy week. Um, I've been calling for a few years, a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. I've always wanted the biggest news. I think. Well, yeah, we'll start with that because it is the biggest news in the off season that the Steelers did, and that was getting DK Metcalf. And I've been after this out of wide receivers when we've been, going through that mode where we were looking for that number one big time wide receiver. He was the guy I was after. A lot of people were, Ayuk, and Ayuk would have been my second choice, in that category. But Metcalf for me was my clear number one, and I'd said it for a while that I love to see them go. And he'd be the perfect pairing to go with Pickens to give you two major weapons. So anyway, the Steelers managed to pull this off. Mind you, they gave up a lot to get him. Um, Mind you, it to me well worth what they gave up. I'll take it any day of the week to get Metcalf. Didn't really bother me. You got a six rounder they traded in 2025. You got a second rounder in 2025 and a seventh rounder in 2025. That didn't that to me is great deal. I don't think the Steelers did bad there at all. I thought that was a phenomenal move. Then we get into talking more stuff here. There was a few people released, and we know there's going to be more, and a lot of movement happening. Smith, Moon, and Oganobi Jabobi. I can't even say his name. Like Ogan Jobi. Anyway, I can't say that. I butcher it. Those three were released. Um, so great signing. This was we got our number one receiver, and I think him and Pickens will complement each other, getting Metcalf. But then we go back to the problematic problems that were created here. Steelers really put themselves in a bloody pickle. This was a great pickup. They let Harris walk. Don't understand that. I know when they drafted him, they were probably expecting bigger numbers, but he gives you good mileage on hardcore um, yards. He's a great one. I thought Jalen Warren and him were a great 1-2 punch. So now we did re-sign Warren, so it looks like he'll be the main number one running back. So we knew we'd get him cheaper. But how do you give up on a first rounder? That blows my mind. I don't know what the Steelers are thinking there. Finally, they make this massive, great move, but oh, look at the bad moves they did just before this. You let Harris walk, and you know you're in trouble at quarterback. You had least stability with Russell Wilson and a future with Fields. Now it sounds like you read some of the articles. It sounds like there was a bit of tension between Fields, and Fields seemed to have that in Chicago too. So there seems to be comments on his attitude, but it seemed like him and Tomlin really weren't on the same page. However, when you let go your again another first rounder, your um what's his name? the last quarterback that they drafted first round who went to the Eagles. Anyway, I think you know who I'm talking about. Pickens, or it's not Pickens, but it's Pickens something. Anyway, so he left, and when that trouble started, you got Russell Wilson and Fields. How do you? That was the least stability. I know that things didn't work out the way we wanted them this season. We knew we still needed a number one wide receiver. Now you get him, but what did you do? You waited too damn long and got too cocky, and you let Russell Wilson get taken by another club, and you let Fields get picked up by another club. Are you out of your caught picking mind? I'm baffled. You see a good move made, then you see three horrible moves made. What are they thinking? Because I don't care what you say, this draft is horrible for QBs, and we also know that and where they're ranked, there's no guarantees on a QB. Yeah, there's no outstanding QB in this draft, so I can't see us drafting one. Um, the good news was for a backup, this is how I see it. Although he may be the starter, the way this is going, we got Rudolph back in the picture, and he's a good backup. I don't mind Rudolph as a backup. He's half decent, but I liked the 1-2 punch of Russell and Fields. I think Fields could have kept learning from Russell Wilson and turned into something. And what do? We just let them walk. And then we're talking about Aaron Rodgers? Are we out of our? And it looks like that may not happen as well. Although I would have gladly taken Russell Wilson over Aaron Rodgers. I just think Aaron Rodgers. I think he's too distracted. That's my opinion with Aaron Rodgers. So, but now we're in a position. If he's available, you better take him. If you can't get, this was a huge mistake management wise. They knew you either stay where you're at, and they should have stayed where they are at, pat, at that position. They could have beefed up the offense and given Russell Wilson and Fields some targets to throw at. We needed targets. You let Harris walk. What's going on? I mean, we just lost our first rounder in a quarterback, Kenny Pickett. That's who it was. And then we know there was a bit of dilemma because he didn't want to share it with Russell Wilson. So you lose your first rounder, the previous, and you got Fields in replacement of him, and that was great. But now you got Fields walks, and then that's two, Kenny Pickett, and now Harris, two first rounders. What is going on in Steel Land? I don't get this, and we do have a history with our running backs of probably the last 15 years. Um, when if they're star running backs, we don't want to pay the salary. Uh, I think you could have worked something out because Harris didn't have outstanding numbers. So I think the contract would have been okay, but maybe he wanted too much, Rich. But again, I don't know how he's still talented. I just thought he gave you that aggressive run the hard yards for you, and then you got Warren that can run, put those speed yards, gain pretty good yardage, and just the alternate because he can be taken down much easier than Harris. But the 1-2 punch would have been perfect. So now it looks like Warren's the starter, and we did go out and get a running back with Kenneth Gainwell. So we're going to talk about the other gains, people we brought in. Yeah, I'm thinking there's two of them that came from the Eagles. So that can't be bad because we got their Super Bowl champions. Got Darius Slay to a 1-year contract. That sounds like it's a good pickup. We got running back Kenneth Gainwell. I don't think he's going to be a Harris by any stretch of the imagination, but he's from the Eagles, so he must be okay. Um, but other than that, I mean, we picked up another center because it looks like we wanted to improve there. So we got Ryan McCullen. That sounds like a half decent pickup. And then Brandon Eccles, a cornerback, 1 year as well as, and Gainwell, like I said, running back, 1 year. Both signed for 1 year. Malik Harrison, a linebacker, you signed him for 2 years. That sounds like a good signing um, from the sounds of it, but we really don't know for sure. And then you let Donald. tight ends, or yeah, you also got Donald Parkham Jr. releases Smith, Moon, and as I said, yeah. And there's going to probably be a lot more movement. I don't know what the Steelers are thinking right now because I think you just kind of put your running back situation backwards. Yeah, I love Warren, but I don't know. Like one thing about Harris, I don't, I think we know Henry's the number one running back in the league, but I think Harris and a couple other guys are right behind him. And so I think we just went backwards, although we probably want to spend that money, and that's probably what they're going to use the line of. They threw it towards Metcalf, and that's the most phenomenal, the best thing they did. But they made a lot of bad moves here. You could not. I don't know what the hell you're thinking when you're not going to find any outstanding quarterback in free agency. They're going to be quarterbacks that are flawed or old. Um, it just great quarterbacks don't go on the market that way. There's either a major trade made to get them, a big splash, or you got to draft them. So I don't know what the Steelers knew this going into the offseason. So why would you mess with what you had in that regard? It's not the year to do it. Yeah, I know you're not totally pleased, but it's a hell of a lot better than what you're facing now. Now we got a disaster on our hands at the QB position. And I just don't like this scenario whatsoever. We got no we got a backup quarterback that's in, and I like Mason for a backup. To me, he's third string quarterback. That's just my opinion. Um, like him, and he knows Pittsburgh's system well, so that's good. He's not a starter. We have really screwed up, and unless Khan has got something up his sleeve, because I wasn't on board when I heard the rumors coming out about Rodgers. I wasn't on board with that at all. I would have much rather stayed in the position of having Russell Wilson and Fields. And I think you could work around molding Fields. That was just my thought. Yeah, maybe but you had time if he's around a quality guy like Russell Wilson. So I don't know what the hell we're thinking. I really don't. I think we put ourselves in a bad position again. Great that you solved the wide receiver thing, but unless you've got a trick up your sleeve, because there's no great quarterbacks in this draft, why would you not at least keep these, Russell Wilson and Fields, at least I think, with Russell, you do a 1 year deal at a time because of his age, and I'm sure he would have done it. I think with Fields, you could have given him a 2 year deal. Um, because he's young, one of the upcoming type of quarterbacks. He's got a lot to learn, but I think that was the perfect situation. We needed to upgrade. We didn't need to go backwards. And like I say, when you fully know that there's nothing in the draft QB wise, you lost Pickett, you had Fields to replace him, and we as Steelers fans could live with that. Fields seemed to be quite much more successful than Pickett, so that seemed to work out. But then you got Russell as a great veteran. So those two, it was a fine. They weren't the reason the Steelers didn't go anywhere in the playoffs. You couldn't go without having a number one wide receiver. We knew this, and we did nothing about it. So now we've done something about it, but then we let two half decent quarterbacks walk. I really, I'm shaking my head. I'll be honest. I'm excited about Metcalf because I've wanted him for 2 or 3 years now. I said if we ever could get Metcalf on our team, to me he's my favorite wide receiver and has been in today's football. Just he stands out. He looked great when Russell Wilson was there, um, and just needs to be utilized. I thought he was perfect with great size and. But you can't let all important pieces walk. Like I say, if you know there's a dilemma in the quarterback field and free agent quarterbacks, they're either old or problematic. They're not elite because nobody's given up an elite quarterback, like I just said, unless you make a big splash trade. That didn't happen. Now it's good to see that we addressed our cornerbacks, we got addressed our center. That's great. But I just really think, and we got a linebacker in there. That's good. But are we going to keep cutting short, taking shortcuts? Because it looks like this management team, or I don't know if it's management or ownership, but I don't think you should be afraid to spend a little bit of money. Because if this is the attitude, then we're never going to win again. The way this is going, I don't know what the thought process is here. I love my Steelers, and I'll die being a Steelers fan, as I've since I was a toddler been one. But however, I don't like what I'm seeing here. The only thing I like that I'm extremely positive in is a Metcalf. And yes, good thing that Rudolph was available to at least put somebody in the slot. But if that's all you got, you're in trouble because he's no damn starter. Um, so, and like I said, as much as I was against the Rogers thing, we don't even know if that's going to transpire because now you're kind of in a pickle where you better take him if he's available. You just better, and I'm not a huge fan of that. I totally would have liked the other two sticking around and then the pickup of Rudolph wouldn't have been bad behind Fields and Russell Wilson. But this, what are we building up to? Because we did a great job with our wide receivers, but now it's like we've affected, kind of went backwards a little bit in our running game. We went backwards in our huge back step in our QBs. This is getting kind of scary. Uh, I hope because this one thing I can say about Kevin Culver, I don't think he ever would have allowed the Steelers to be in that situation, and I'm really concerned with the Tomlin. They seem to be the two calling the shots, and DK, like I said, is a great one. But to allow all that talent to walk away, what the hell are you thinking? Because this team's not playoff material if we don't get a quarterback. You've got to have a quarterback that can get the ball to those great wide receivers. And why would you want to go backwards in your running game? You got to be able to compete with teams like the Ravens, who got the best running back in the ball. I don't get it. So that's where the Steelers stand at this moment. I expect to see a lot more. And I think they've really, I'll be honest, this is my opinion on the movement. I think they placed themselves in a huge pickle because I think they toyed around with those two quarterbacks far too long and should have addressed it much sooner. They should have locked those two up. And they toyed with time. Other teams came in and swooped and didn't mess around. And we sat there waiting around playing games because of money and whatever they were thinking. And now you got the team in a dilemma because you got to have a top quarterback to go anywhere in this league. And I'm sorry, a third string. I like Rudolph, and thank God we did pick him up because we had nobody at all. Uh, he's no starter. Like, I mean, come on, man, we're in real trouble, and I don't know what we're thinking in the running game either. Um, I could have lived with if you were letting Harris walk, but you kept your two quarterbacks. I could have lived with that, but all those important pieces gone. This is not good. You got to have a number one and elite quarterback to go anywhere in this league. So let's pray to God that some miracle falls out of the sky because I don't know how this is going to transpire. And Aaron Rodgers, as you say, I wasn't for it, but boy, if we let what we let go and there's nobody else out there, you're going to have to take him just to have a start. Somebody who's at least at that level that can be a starter. You're gonna have to, and I'm not a huge fan of it because I think Aaron's mind's not in the right place at this point in his career, and I just think he's not focused. His best days to me are behind him. But saying that, since you put yourself in a dilemma and there's no great QBs in the draft, if you can get them, you better get them because there's nobody else. I don't know. Like I said, I really don't know what the hell um, Con Tomlin and Rooney are thinking. I'm baffled. So let's hope they got something, a trick up their sleeve, or that we don't know about, because yeah, you did a good thing, but you did an awful lot of bad things here too. So I don't know what the hell you're creating here, to tell you the truth. I'm totally baffled at this point. The only great thing is getting Metcalf, but you got to have somebody elite that can knows how to distribute and make proper decision the ball with the ball. So yeah, that's it for now. We'll come in like we do in off season. And like I say, bear with me. I'm moving too, so I got a lot of time to put in that. It was an unexpected move, so yeah, it slows down what I'm putting out, and I got to focus on that. But I will try to keep up to date, and I don't remember, we don't jump for rumors here. We go with when something's actually solidified. So there will be updates. Just keep your eye on things. Let's hope we get some good news, because I'm going to be watching it, and I hope there's something that we all don't know, because this is kind of getting scary now. This is really getting scary. So, with that said, let's pray to God some type of miracle happens, and my God, they prove they knew what they're doing, because right now it's not looking too positive. All right, thank you for joining me. You've seen it here at Steel Curtain Productions. Go Steelers, go, and Steelers Nation. Thank you for watching. Again, tell your friends and family and share the video. And we appreciate your following us and supporting us. And until the next episode, God bless.